Well, President Trump heads to Indiana today to unveil his long-awaited tax plan. What can we expect to hear? And more importantly, can something like this, very ambitious, actually pass? Joining us now, Brian Brenberg, chair of the program in business and finance at the King's College in Manhattan. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Lauren.
All right, first let's take a look at what we expect to see in this framework that will be unveiled today. Cutting that corporate tax rate to 20% from 35%. Cutting the tax rate on pass-through businesses, 25%, maybe 28%. And then this is important, Brian. I want your opinion on this one. In terms of the individual tax brackets, we have 7. What if we took that not to 3, but to 4, where that top rate would be under 39.6%, but higher than 35%? Is that the carrot here that might appease those saying, no, we don't want tax cuts on the rich?
Well, yeah, one of the big objections has been, is this going to be a tax cut for the rich? And what you see Republicans doing here is trying to kind of throw those critics a bone and say, look, we're maybe not going to take the top individual rate down all the way to 35. It's going to be something between 35 and 39. We'll see if that appeases the critics. Frankly, I don't think it's going to. I think if the people are against this bill, they're going to continue to be against this bill. But you can see Republicans really taking an eye toward trying to get this thing through, anything they can do to make that happen. They want to get the business tax cuts done, by the way. That's why they're willing to give a little bit on the individual side.
Yeah, you know, you said on this show that, and rightly so, you didn't think health care would pass. Do you think tax reform is going to pass, particularly by the end of the year?
Yeah, I think something will get done on taxes. There's a lot more wiggle room here. And at the end of the day, politicians like cutting taxes, probably more than they like dealing with the messiness of health care. So I do think you'll see something get through. I don't know if it's going to be as ambitious as what we're talking about here. You've got $5 trillion potentially of tax cuts on the table right now. You're not going to have that at the end of this process. But I do think you're going to see something, especially on the business side, because everybody knows that's where the real growth potential is, including the president. And that's what he's really eager to get done.
Speaking of the $5 trillion, they have to condense that into a budget that essentially allows for just $1.5 trillion worth of cuts. So ambitious is in some ways an understatement. So today the president's in Indiana. He's going to be talking about taxes with the Democratic senator there, Joe Donnelly, and also small businesses. Because as you pointed out, tax reform is key to economic growth and helping small businesses. Do you think a tax reform plan would really get us to 5% GDP?
I mean, I love the thought of 5% GDP. Look, I'm all for that. I don't think we can get there. That's a really ambitious number, especially for a developed economy like the U.S. 3% target is a more reasonable target. That's still going to be a heavy lift as well.
But we're there now, Brian. We're at 3% now.
Well, we were in last quarter, but look over the course of a year. We're talking about sustained 3% growth. That would be great. Tax reform is part of getting there. It's not the only thing. Look, we still have to talk about regulatory reform. I would still love to see Republicans come back and take another bite at health care. I'm not optimistic, but it's a package of things that are going to get us to 3% growth. The president's right to push that growth agenda. Talking about 5%, I mean, I would love to see it, but that may be a bridge too far right now.
All right, Brian Brenberg, so good to see you. Thank you.
Good to be here.